Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and I was saving this video for the release of Siegfried, or what's that, like, remade version of it with smaller guns, Augir, not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but it seems like that ship has been stuck in development hell now, and it may suffer the same fate of the Alaska, where it just takes an eternity to come out. But I want to get this video out there, so this is ranking the current Supercruisers in the game as of March 21st, 2020, from worst to best. Now, in all honesty, I do think there's really only one ship that is a bad Supercruiser, and it's really not that bad, it's just that it's overshadowed by its counterpart so much. So all these ships, I do think they're pretty good, and all except for like two of them, I would say is worth your time getting, and I would get them in the order of that I'm putting them in. So number one, I would definitely try to get that one first. Two, and the thing is, I mean, some of these you can just go ahead and buy right now. Some of them you can't. But anyway, I'll elaborate more upon that when I'm talking about said ship, so I don't confuse everybody too much. So yeah, we're going to go from worst to best, and again, the last ship, well, the first ship on this list, is the only ship that I'd say is not worth it, and well, you can't get it anymore, and that is the Kronstadt, the Tier 9 Soviet Supercruiser. And, I mean, think about it, when was the last time you saw a Kronstadt in-game? And this was the first Supercruiser that came out in the game, and yeah, it was cool, but man, it wasn't that fantastic. I guess when it was released, you didn't really have much to compare it to, but nowadays it's not that great by Supercruiser standards. So she has 9 305mm guns. They do get Soviet ballistics, but velocity of the guns is nowhere near. Well, I think it's like 100 meters a second slower than Stalingrad, and the accuracy of the guns, it has battleship dispersion. It does not have cruiser dispersion, and that is rough. You could be within 10 kilometers of the target and half the shells still go in the water, and yeah, that's pretty freaking rough. But the shells that do hit will hit pretty hard because, yes, they do have Soviet ballistics. And again, they're not going as fast as Stalingrad shells, but they still hit pretty hard. In the clip you're watching now, I still take like 10k off of a curve first from broadside on, and most of the shells do actually miss. Now, she does also have radar on top of that, and she is actually fairly tough. She has some pretty tough armor. She is a Soviet ship after all, and she does have a huge hit point pool of 71,000 hit points, and that's a lot. That's more than some Tier 9 battleships. So she's got all that going for her, but her guns are a big letdown. They aren't that great. They aren't that fantastic. If they were a little bit more accurate, then yeah, she'd be a bit better. But no need to worry about this ship because the ship isn't even available anymore to purchase. And if they ever put her back, and I do think they did put her in the Christmas containers from this Christmas, I wouldn't spend any money trying to get this ship. It's not that great, and I mean it's okay, but it's not worth spending any money, or if for some reason they put her back for free XP, it's definitely not worth the free XP, so don't worry about getting this ship. Alright, moving on, next we have the Azuma, the Tier 9 Japanese Supercruiser. Now, the Azuma has 310mm guns, and these guns are frickin' lovely. They hit nice and hard with the HE. They are fantastic at starting fires. I've set more fires in one game with the Azuma than I normally do with the Smolensk, and that's saying a lot. And the Azuma is such a nice ship. It does have a lot of downsides, especially the Azuma, but the guns are great. If you like playing Zal, you'll love the ship. Hang back in the back and just throw HE at everything, and it will die eventually. And it's not like the Smolensk, where it's just constantly, doing pinprick damage here and there. No, you actually have to, aim and hit your target at least in order to get those fires started and to get that good HE alpha. And she's a great ship. Do they still have her? And I think she's free XP if she is still out there and still available for free XP. Yeah, this one's worth it. It's a great damage farmer, great credit farmer too. I mean, there are other ships that are better credit farmers than the Azuma, but she's really nice at that. Now, her downsides are she is incredibly squishy. Easy to citadel. If anything with big guns looks at you the wrong way, you're gonna get citadeled. You don't have any radar, so this is the only supercruiser without any radar. So that's a big downside for it. But again, since you are going to be in the back most of the time, it's not like you'll be using radar a lot, but still, that's a downside. And her AA is not all that fantastic. She barely has any. As you can see, her deck's mostly empty. Now, the Azuma's big sister, the Yoshino, which I guess isn't really a sister, but more of a twin sister, that just got everything that the Yoshino was missing. That the Azuma was missing. So the Yoshino, I don't have any footage for it because I do not have the Yoshino. I'm working toward it because I do like the Azuma. She's the Azuma, but better. She has better armor. She can bounce 16-inch shells, I believe, with her bow armor. But she is not as good as the other supercruisers either in some regard as well. Because, yes, the armor is better, but you're saying it's better than the Azuma. I'm sorry, 15-inch shells, not 16-inch shells with the bow armor. She can take a bit more punishment than the Azuma. She has a bit better AA than the Azuma, and she gets torpedoes. Currently the only supercruiser with torpedoes, and you can get, I believe you can get the 20-kilometer torpedoes as well with the Yoshino, and her guns are a bit more accurate than the Azuma. So when the Yoshino was released, it kind of made the Azuma kind of pointless, but the Azuma is available for free XP. The Yoshino, you have to get it via coal, so it takes a little bit longer to get the Yoshino. But yep, I will. The Yoshino is obviously in front of the Azuma. Both are good ships. Again, I'm working to get the Yoshino. Hopefully, I'll have it sometime in the future. But yep, that's where they are. And now moving on to the Puerto Rico. So the Puerto Rico, everyone's favorite little fiasco. Now the Puerto Rico is actually the toughest supercruiser. It has the best armor out of all the other supercruisers. She's almost uncitadelable. I've citadeled her a couple of times in GK, Roma, and Yami. But when you're fighting other cruisers and other battleships, more than likely, you are not going to get citadeled. Now, that's not saying you can sit bow on, you can sit broadside on to everything. You will eat pins. It's just that you probably won't get citadeled. Now, she does have very good AA. She's an American cruiser, and you can choose hydro or defensive fire for AA depending upon what your level of pain from the sky is. And you do get 12 305mm guns. Now, they are also 12 American guns, which means that their velocity isn't that fantastic, but you do also get American cruiser AP, and that packs a punch. But they are also, well, pretty much it's battleship dispersion again. They are not very accurate compared to some of the other cruisers. Now, you do kind of get that accuracy through volume with 12 guns that reload in under, I think you get them down to like, what, 16, 17 seconds, I believe, depending upon your build. And yeah, there is, accuracy through volume, but still, in situations where you're going to be bow on a lot of the times, and you only have those two front turrets to use and you're working with battleship dispersion, it's not that great. Now, when you can get your full broadside onto whatever you're shooting at, then yes, it's fantastic at that point. But especially in the way the game is today, you're going to be in a lot of those bow-on situations where, you just need to have really accurate shots, and you can't. But other than that, she's a pretty good ship. She's fairly maneuverable, not like dancing everyone maneuverable. She's not that fast, but she's fairly quick. So she's a pretty good ship, but not like overly amazing. But a really solid ship, really tough armor. And you do get radar as well, and that's always a big plus. So, pretty decent ship. Not worth the price they were offering her for way back in the day, which was either grind your life away or like $250 on top of grinding. Not worth that. I don't think they'll ever re-release the ship. They may, but I doubt it. And if they do put her in Christmas containers or whatever, You know, it's a good ship, but is it worth, you know, playing the Christmas container lottery for? Probably not. Alright, next up and second to last, we have the Alaska. Alaska is much more maneuverable than the Puerto Rico. She only has 9 305mm guns with American cruiser AP, but she gets cruiser dispersion instead of battleship dispersion, so her guns are much more accurate. And it's a world of difference between using just the front two turrets on the Puerto Rico, and using just the front two turrets on the Alaska. It's fantastically better. It has radar, same radar as the Puerto Rico, great AA, and all around just a much better cruiser in my opinion than the Puerto Rico. She's much more maneuverable, guns are way more accurate. She is squishier than the Puerto Rico, of course, and I believe in the clip you're watching now, I slipped up at the beginning of this match, and I did wind up losing about almost half my health, but, you know, that's the price for slipping up in a cruiser. So she's much better than the Puerto Rico, much more maneuverable, and Alaska is a ship you can actually just go and buy right now. She's on the premium store for, I think, $77, which is, you know, it's expensive, but it's a tier 9 premium, and if you do get the Alaska, great credit farmer, great free XP earner, great captain trainer for American heavy cruises. So if you're looking for a ship that can do that, Alaska's your ship. Totally worth the money in my opinion, even though it is a little pricey, but great ship. And finally, at number 1, we of course have the Stalingrad, Russian bias personified. She has 9 305mm guns with Soviet ballistics and a velocity of, I believe they're in like the 900s. I think they're like 905 or like 900 meters a second even. Great guns, accurate guns. She's a tough ship bow on, at least. And she gets that Russian long range radar. Her radar has a range of 12 kilometers, but it is short. It doesn't last for the same duration as the American radar, which I think the American radar lasts for like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, somewhere in there. The Stalingrad's radar only lasts for, I believe, like 15 seconds, 12 seconds. It's not very long. But she's very fast. Lovely ship. She is tough to get. You do have to acquire her through Steel, which means you have to play ranked or clan battles, and that's a pain. It took me a very long time to get the Stalingrad, even with the Snowflake event from 2 years ago and the Steel Monsters campaign. So it took me quite a while to get the Stalingrad. So she is available to everybody. It's just, it's going to take you some time to get her, but she's completely worth it. Now, she does have her downsides, and one is she has a massive turning circle radius, which wouldn't seem like that big of a deal, but she's also incredibly squishy from the side. Anything finds your sides, especially if it's a battleship, it's going to do a lot of damage to you. And in the clip you're watching now, I'm not sure, you know, at what point of the battle I'm starting it, but I do slip up, and some ships catch my broadside, and I lose like half of my health per salvo. It's pretty rough when you get called on your side, so it's not as Russian biased as a lot of people make it out to be, but it's pretty tough to deal with when you are playing it correctly. And also she does have good AA. She does have defensive fire for AA as well, so she's not untouchable by carriers, but they're going to lose a fair amount of planes if they try to deal with her. But overall, she is of course the number 1 current supercruiser in my opinion. And again, this is all my opinion. I'm just ranking them as I enjoy them and how I see their worth in my eyes. And again, I was going to wait for the Siegfried or whatever to come out, but I don't know where the hell that ship is or when the hell it's going to come out. But that's my list. Well, I don't know if it's really a list video or a ranked video or whatever. That's the order I'd put them in. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You agree with me, disagree with me? Which ships would you move around? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. We're getting very close to our halfway point of 9,000 subscribers. We are under 300 subs away from that goal. I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys are staying healthy and staying safe and having a wonderful Monday. And I also hope to catch you guys in the next one.